have you learned? Programmed to beat you. What have you learned? It was programmed to beat you. Humans, what have you learned? I was programmed to beat you. Same mistakes. I was programmed to beat you. Humans, what have you learned? I was programmed to beat you. have you learned? I was programmed to beat you.
But here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Hello, and welcome back to FRLT Tier 1. It's been a little while. It's been 2 weeks since we were last here. Last time out, we were at Abu Dhabi, which saw the 4th victory of AMS Sassoy, and the 4th victory in AMS's campaign, continuing to charge with their lead in the Constructors. This week, we come to a bit of a different circuit. We come to the Hungaroring in Budapest, in Hungary. 4.381 kilometers, 2.738 miles, 14 turns, 2 DRS turns down the pit straight, and then down the second straight, ultimately much shorter. Can't really make an overtake just with DRS. Absolutely crazy. Of course, only 14 corners during this whole track. The calendar, of course, here it is. It's the wrong calendar. My apologies. I've pulled up the wrong calendar there. Thought I clicked on the right one. Ultimately, here are the standings. There's also the calendar. We come to Hungary for round 7 of the season. AMS leading by 58 points in the Constructors, with ultimately ABE in second at the moment. CRE quite a bit further behind, 97 points off of the lead in the Constructors, but they currently sit CRE. As you can see, a new name, TE in 4th. They are replacing ART. They're the same team. Literally, they are the same team. They're currently having a bit of battle with TTRE and TIR and AERO over 5th in the Constructors. Currently, there's a battle going on there for 5th. Definitely interesting. But it is time to get to the track, and we have a huge amount of things up on screen, which I do not mean to have. My apologies. Did not mean to have that up on screen. Me being me. So, as you can see, I don't think we have anybody out on track as of yet. We have nobody out on track right now. We've just got a Ferrari that's just gone out. It is Pansino, who has made his way out of the pit lane. He's made his way out. Give me a second to slightly turn up the audio. He's now making his way round. The audio is broken again. Holy. I'll just turn that on. My apologies, guys, for the absolute craziness going on. So, as you see, riding on board, we have Pouncito here, making his way round. Everything should be working for tonight. making his way around. He'll be the first driver. We've got now 4. We've got a yellow flag in the first corner for an Aston Martin. And I think that's the Aston Martin of Estemba. Making our way around to start off a lap. This man is on the tyres of the mediums. He is on those preferred tyres for the Ferrari at the moment. So we're going to see as he starts off his lap and starts off qualifying here in Hungary, heading down towards turn 1 with a huge amount of speed as he reaches turn 1, as he now starts to turn in, braking about 90 meters, getting the corner right, maximizing the exit as well. Don't run onto that curb, you will lose time. For the final time, he'll have DRS in his lap now, down into the corner of turn 3, now about to hit turn 4, ultimately as he makes his way through turn 4 he goes. Now to finish off sector 1, it's a 26.885 is the time to beat. Of course, it is on medium tyres, so it's slightly different. You know, it's going to be a little bit better for the man of Poundsley. So of course he knows he's got more time to find. He knows he's got a lot more time to find in his lap. We've only got 18 drivers here tonight. We're missing 2 drivers from SET and also from the team of 12 Esports. Making his way around second sector, purple again. Now making his way through the final sector, first corner of the final sector. Very nice now into the final 2 corners, penultimate corner, trying to get the car turned in as well as he can. And actually the car's resting quite nicely on those medium tyres, getting a little bit of research. Not so good through the final corner, not getting the apex as well. Opening the DRS as he crosses the line. A 1 minute 14.727 is going to be the time to beat to start off qualifying here. My apologies having to do that quickly. Fastest lap so far, that's what's been set as the fastest lap. We've got Axel who's just starting a lap. It is Trady who's coming up to line next. He's going to put in a 1 minute 13.671, 1.1, about 1.5 seconds faster than the Ferrari man, and that is a very good lap time set by him there. We're waiting to see who's going to cross the line next. It's Kakpa, or Lobos. I'm going to call you Lobos because I can. Lobos crossing the line next in the Haas for AERO. He goes into P2, slotting quite a bit further behind, 6/10 behind at the moment on those soft tire compound. Yuri goes to a 14.1. Quite a few drivers now crossing the line. I think we've just seen Harrison cross the line. Estenba goes P2, just over half a tenth, 700ths, just over 700ths behind Trady at the moment. We saw Philip go P3 in the McLaren, Yuri P4. We saw Harrison go P6 there. Junu goes P8 in the Williams, which I'm trying to remember which team that is. It is MAR, that's the one. Ultimately, Axel goes even faster. He finds a bit more time than his teammate for CIE, and he goes fastest of all. 1 minute 13.583 is now the new time to beat here in qualifying. We're going to have to see who's coming up to the line next. I think it's a Red Bull. That was Neb Restroom who came up to the line. He's slowest of all in this session. We've got Lucas who's going slow. We've got DeVito who's coming round to the line next in the Aston Martin. He's got to get a good lap in here for TCRE. They're really needing to get a good race here. And he does cross the line, but it is also slowest, even slower. 1 minute 15 is where he goes in his lap. Hamza's crossing the line next. He's invalidated his lap, so I guess he's going again. Trappy is on a lap at the moment. So he's making his way round at some decent speed. He's going to come in, actually, on his lap. So that is his lap over and done with there. Looking to the next driver who's on lap. Rain has just started lap. Hamza putting in a lap. Lucas is actually coming round to the line next. For a second I thought I missed somebody, but the man of Lucas crosses the line. He goes slowest. It was obviously a slow lap there. I did not realise that towards the end of his lap. DeVito is not pushing. Phoenix is on a lap. We've got Jordan. We've got Rain. I think Hamza's going to be the next one to actually cross the line here because he's making his way around. He's just finished off Sector 2 there. So he's making his way around. Let's see what he's going to be able to do on his lap at the moment. Definitely got a bit of pace behind that car here tonight. Definitely got that pace behind the McLaren. His teammate Philip up in 4th place as he crosses the line. Hamza goes P9. Not slotting in perfectly, but it is still a decent position overall. I think we've got Jordan who's coming to the line next. He's not going to be on the front row. He's actually going to be really far behind. A set 16.8 is what he puts in. Phoenix coming up to the line next. Let's see what he's going to do. He only goes P12. Still not good enough there from him. Rain goes P5. Just slotting in front of Yuri and just slightly behind the man of Philip. So very close there, but top 5 goes the AERO driver. AERO having a bit of a comeback, 5th and 7th at the moment. Lucas just went P10, jumping Hamza. Very good there. I've got the team cars now up on... I have got the team cars now up. My apologies for not even knowing them, but we've only run these for a week. Red Bull is ABE. We've got a bit of lag in there, but ultimately, Red Bull is ABE, Mercedes is AMS, Ferrari is SCT, McLaren is ART, or now, I'm really trying to remember teams' names now, or TE, as it should be. Aston Martin is TTRE, Alpine is CRE, Williams MAR, Racing Bulls TIR, Sauber is 12 Esports, and Haas is AERO. Just giving you the small list if you guys aren't sure of who's who, but there's a lot of chaos going on in the first sector. Lots of drivers coming out on outlaps now. Out of all of them, I think the leading driver in all of that is, I think in his lap, is Trappy. Yeah, he's the first. By the way, Trappy, actually the first driver to come out, I think. Or, no, it was Pouncito. He was the first driver to come out on his outlap here tonight. So, Pouncito feeling confident in the car at the moment. He feels like he should find some more time in that Ferrari for SCT. Here he comes, coming down towards turn 1. We're watching the Ferrari once again as these drivers start their second runs in qualifying. You can only really do 3 runs when you go back to the pits each time if you only do 1 lap at a time. But at the moment, we're seeing teams really pushing it. There's a decent gap. I think some drivers have made mistakes on their laps, so I don't think everybody's been in the clear on their first laps. Almost 2 tenths up from Pouncito at the moment off of his first sector alone. So that Ferrari finding quite a bit of time. Maybe some track evolution being kicked in here. Luckily, he hasn't really got any cars in front. The only car that he might find troublesome is the Aston Martin in front of him, who is only 1 corner ahead, but is already slowing down to let him by. I'm not sure which Aston Martin that is. I think that is DeVito. But Pouncito goes off the track. He was only improving by another 200ths in the middle sector, and that's an invalidation for him. We now look to Trappy, who's also invalidated on his lap. He's not having the best of runs here either here tonight. We look to now Yuri, who's the next driver. He was only up by 3 thousandths in the first sector. Of course, he is running P6 at the moment, making his way round. He's pushing hard. He's up 2 tenths of a second now. So he's finding quite a bit of time in his lap. ABE really need a strong night here. They really need to get back into title contention. Of course, AMS not having the best of qualifying sessions so far. P10 and P18. They do need to get some laps in, though, because they're really struggling. This might be a bit of a struggle. But across the line goes Yuri. Quarter of a second faster, exactly on the dot. And he finds some time there. Stenber didn't find time on his lap. Not good enough. We just saw a few drivers slowing down. I think we just saw Neb Restroom, who found 8 tenths of a second. He goes P6. Janu went P9. Axel goes even faster, but only slightly faster. Only finding about half a tenth of a second, by the way, in his lap. That's all he could find from his personal best, was just half a tenth in his entire lap. So obviously, he's not finding a huge amount more time from his first lap ultimately. So maybe there's a bit of, maybe the track isn't, getting much faster. Maybe it just isn't. So we're gonna have to see as qualifying goes on. DeVito up by 4 tenths of a second. He really needs to catch on because he's over 2 seconds off for the pace. He can only find half a second. Does go ahead of Phoenix, but still sits 1.5 seconds, just over 1.5 seconds behind pole position at the moment. So Bit of a struggle for some drivers. Definitely some drivers struggling to keep the car where they want it to be at the moment. AMS Lucas could only find P12. So still not finding enough. We've got Trapu who's coming round now, opening his rear wing. Up to the line he goes. He does go P8, but still only P8. Not enough as it currently stands. We just saw Hamza. He just improved to P12. Harrison goes P9. Good improvement from the RB driver. TIR not really having... They're not been as strong so far in their last few races. They've really struggled to keep up so much. Phoenix, we just saw cross the line. He went P13. Rain improves. He goes P4 now. Into the 1 minute 13.9s. And he's ultimately just 1,000th. He beat Yuri by just 1,000th of a second in his lap. Pancito is starting another lap. Very interesting to see. I do have to say, very interesting to see so far in this session. I think we just saw a driver improve. Who was that? Was that somebody just crossed the line? I think that was a Mercedes. That was a Mercedes of Lucas who improved by half a second. He's gone up into P10. Top 10 split by 7/10 of a second. Not our closest qualifying we've had, but still sitting around there. Sort of the main grid sitting within a second of each other. First to 13th are within a second of each other at the moment. It's only these few positions further back that are pushing that to about 1.2 seconds back to 15th. Of course, NTN having a qualifying ban because there's only one 12 esports driver turning up here tonight. But I think that is the runs for a lot of drivers done. I think Pancito is on another lap, though. He's only improving by a 10.5 on this run, so he's not finding a lot of time. He could go up to P13 at the moment, so he might just jump the RB and the McLaren. He's got to find some time in this final sector, though. Across the line he goes. He only finds a 10th, only. He loses some time, actually. And he only goes up to P14, just jumping Phoenix by 0.008 of a second. Hello, Timon. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. It's great to have you here. Of course, it's great to have you here on a Tuesday evening. Always nice to have everybody here. Well, I've got some information for you. Pole positions. Most pole positions, as you can see in the graphic in the little bottom left, most pole positions this season has been held by both AMS and AB, who both have 3. The only 2 teams to grab pole positions so far in the first 6 races, which is less teams, by the way, which is actually less teams than we had last season. We had 3 teams, by the way. At this point, we had 3 teams who all took pole position. But at the moment, it's a draw, 3-all between AMS and ABE, as also they're first and second in the constructors. So pole positions very one-sided at the moment between the 2. So that's going to be interesting. We've got a little bit of teamwork going on. We've got both McLarens. They've come out first. We've got a Mercedes. That's Trappy, who's made his way out for his final run. So 3 cars out on track. We've got 4th. We've got quite a lot more cars coming out on track here tonight. But we've got the 2 McLarens first. I think there's some teamwork going on here. I don't think they just accidentally came out at the same time, which would be quite odd if they did. But the leading driver in these 2 is Philip. He needs to find some more time. He needs, of course, he's hoping to find even just a 10th of a second will send him to P4, up 2 places. So at the moment, it's looking pretty close. He's allowed his teammate to go out in front, which means we will be watching Hamza again. Like we can see a lot of drivers now going through Sector 1 and entering Sector 2 now. I think we've got tons of drivers who are just flooding round. Only 2 drivers currently sitting in the pit lane. Everybody else making their way round. Everybody else has made their way round turn 1. So maybe Hamza might have the problem towards the end of the lap that he might have some people getting in the way of him. But now let's ride on board with Hamza on his final run. Let's see what he's going to do. Heading down towards turn 1 with huge amounts of speed. Of course, braking about 70 meters this time round. He gets to turn in that McLaren, and that's exactly what he needs. A little bit of the car fighting back off of the exit. Now heading down towards turn 3, he throws the car in. Not exactly sure when to throw it in. Going a bit safer, tighter line. Now making his way round the next corner. Now heading off to end Sector 1. He's improving by 0.2 of a second. He's finding a lot of time in his lap. This won't get him P12, but it will get him very close to the back of the top 10. Now heading round the chicane. He makes the chicane work a little bit deep through the first part of the chicane. Does affect you through the second corner. And again, very nice here. The McLaren really showing some pace. This McLaren looks stable. Although through turn 1 it didn't. It's looking very good throughout the rest of the lap. Still, exactly the same. Equal with his sector, with his last lap, with his personal best so far. Can he find more time in the final sector? That's the big question. We know he made a mistake in the chicane, so maybe that lost him maybe half a tenth, maybe a tenth. He's gone a little bit deep through the final corner, and up to line comes the McLaren. He only finds a tenth. He does lose 800ths as he hits into the wall very aggressively in a very angry way. He doesn't improve. Philip does improve. He finds himself P3. There's a driver, I think that was Lucas or Trappy. That's a Mercedes that was going slowly. Trappy's improved by 2/10, but it's still only P7, only jumps. Neb Restroom, and now qualifying is officially over. Trady goes first and fastest, 13.4 he's found quite a bit of time. Estenbar finds also a similar amount of time. He goes P2, onto the front row he goes. Junu finishing 9th, Jordan finishes last. Ultimately, Axel can't improve. He's going to stay P3, so it's not a perfect one for them. Phoenix is going to stay P14. We've got a Haas coming up the line next. That was Lobos. He crossed the line, 310 sub. He finds himself now P8. We look behind to a few other drivers. Rain didn't improve on his lap. Quite a few drivers not being able to improve on their laps at the moment. Yuri improved by 3/10. He does find himself P4. Philip, of course, not on a flying lap at the moment. We got Lucas, who isn't pushing either. He's not happy. We can see Pouncita is making his way around, though. I think he will be the last driver to cross the line here tonight now. So let's see. Is he going to cross it? Is he going to find a big amount of time? Yes, he does. He clinches P10. The last driver to do that. So he does find his way into the top 10. Trappy isn't on a lap. He's going to be the final driver to cross the line. And he is now done. And that is our qualifying session. The man of Trady is on pole position here tonight. A 1-3 for CRE. Their qualifying form coming back into order once again this season. I have to say, qualifying form really coming in for the team of CRE in Abu Dhabi in this race. And I think that's really going to save them. But AMS having a real struggle tonight. Their worst qualifying, by the way, of the season. Yes, they have just put in their worst average position in qualifying, which is sitting, if I'm correct, it's sitting at P11 at the moment as the average between the two. But here is the grid. Trady is first with Estenbar in second, Axel third, Yuri fourth, Philip fifth, Rain sixth, Trappy seventh, Lobos in eighth, Neb Restroom in ninth, Pounceet, so finishing out the top 10. Jono is 11th with Harrison 12th, Lucas 13th, Hamza 14th, Phoenix 15th, Vito 16th, Jordan 17th, and NTN starting last on the grid. But ultimately, pretty close at the end of qualifying. Top 4 split by just 0.2 of a second. Top 3 split by just over a tenth of a second. So incredibly close from everybody. We'll be starting very shortly. We'll be readying up shortly. There is rain! There is rain! There is rain here tonight. Yes, there is rain. There is rain. Very entertaining now. But let's pull up something that I have. Team standings at the moment. Here they are. Here's the constructors before we get into the race and strategy and everything. Ultimately, as you can see, AMS leading on 169 points. ABE second, CRE third with ART in fourth and TTRE fifth. Those are the current standings there. Also, we've got a bit of a battle for fifth in the constructors. TTRE with 49 points, TIR with 45, ARO with 37, and 12 esports with 35. Very close, just 14 points, spreading 4 teams at the moment between all of them. So we're going to be seeing racing in the next 2 minutes. Make sure to, I hope you guys are enjoying the stream. Please think about subscribing, leaving a like would mean a lot to me and everybody here at FRLT. So, ABE getting very close. Yuri is just disconnected. Yuri's left. No, Yuri, please. Please, Yuri, don't leave. Let me invite somebody really quickly. I've got to invite somebody really quickly. Yuri, I have him here. I do have Yuri. Somewhere here. He's on this list. He was on this list. I had Yuri. Where is he? Has he gone offline? Has Yuri gone offline? I think Yuri's gone offline. I can't find him. I can't find him. Get his teammate to invite him. Get his teammate to invite him. Really, get his teammate to invite him, because we're about to get into some racing in the next minute. I mean, I can't find him on the list now for some odd reason. Generally shocking. At the moment, going to see racing in the next few moments. Right now, we're going to see racing. Going to be getting underway for some racing here tonight. Yeah, Yuri's gone offline. Oh, no. We're going to be getting going now. I can hear the beeping in the background. I know you guys probably won't, but I can hear the beeping, and we're about to get going here in Hungary. We're going to get racing. Here we go. It is raining here in Hungary. It's 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go here in Hungary for round 7 of FRLT Tier 1. And it's a good getaway from Yuri. He's ultimately got to the Megastar. I don't know how. Hamza retires from the session. He's already done. He's already done with his day already. And as you can see, drivers going around turn 1. Eston Bar now leads away from Trady. A big start from him. Now heading down to the next corner he goes. And now through turn 3. Eston Bar leads for TTRE in the Aston Martin. And he is going and going and going. And that is now a good start from a few drivers. Struggle from Axel. He's down to P5 already. Really having some struggles there. NTN battling with Jordan further back as they make their way through Sector 2 now in these intermediate conditions. As now they head to the chicane for the first time tonight. 35 laps is what the race will be. And it is only lap 1 out of those 35 laps to go. Now, making our way round, it's a decent start from a few drivers. I have to say, Estember getting a really good getaway. He's got him what he needed. P1 and the lead of this race at the moment for TTRE. Exactly what they would have been hoping for here tonight. DeVito not getting the start that he would have wanted. Yuri, I don't believe is in. I haven't seen him join. I don't think. I haven't seen it at the bottom of the screen, because you would have seen it. But ultimately, let's get back onto the action. And as you see, Estember finishing lap 1 in the lead as he goes on to lap 2. It's an Aston Martin leading for the first time in a very long time. A different team other than CRE or AMS now lead a race. Other than the top 3 in the constructors, by the way, this is the first time since Imola that not one of the top 3 in the constructors have led a race, by the way. Yes. And I am telling truth here. I can't find him. Like, I can't invite him time, please. Making his way around, though. Estember still leading this race. Still making his way round. No moves happening. Bit of a split going on. Pancito struggling to keep up with 8th place. He's now just over a second behind. He's just over a second behind. People calling me to invite people that I don't even have. Oh my god, just don't disconnect. There you are. Now you're there. This game is so bad. This game is so bad, and now we're seeing a change for position. Neb Restrum and AMS Trappy going side by side. Red Bull versus Mercedes. We've seen this quite a bit. This in real life, but we're going to see it again. But Trappy is going to stay in P6. But today has been not been a good day for AMS, and could be the first weak race of their campaign where they are struggling to keep up. I said this a few weeks back about how difficult it's been for AMS so far, you know, and how they've been so dominant. But this race, they're really looking like they might be on a bit of a struggle. 1 second behind P5 at the moment. P6 and P16, you know, last race, they had a DNF. They didn't score points with one driver, but they did get a victory with Sasoi. And for the first week, I believe I think for the first time since round 1, they're not racing with AMS Sasoi. They don't have him racing tonight. And they have Trappy and Lucas, of course, but it's the first night that they're not leading a race in the first 3 laps, by the way. They have led every race since, yes, we've got to go back all the way to the time of Belgium, I believe. Belgium or was Mexico, where they have not led the race in the first 3 laps, by the way, for the first time. For the first 3 full laps, they have not led the race since, I believe it was Belgium. So it's been a while. It's been a while since they've done it. I mean, that was round 1 of the season. That was the opening race. Ultimately, making their way around, Estemba continues to lead this race by a whopping lead of 8/10 already in this race. You can see the gap already building between drivers. Of course, these changeable conditions proving to be a struggle for some people at the moment. We can see NTN now making a move down the inside of Jonu Vane, as he's now made the move on the MAR driver. He's going to make that move. Bit of contact between the two still. Yuri's ultimately DNF'd. He's retired. I think this is just terrible game. Terrible game. NTN, I do feel bad for Yuri because he was in a good position. But NTN now makes his way past Vane for 13th place. And that's getting closer and closer to the points for the 12 esports driver in the Sauber. You can see the drifting through the corners. Ultimately, yeah, good start from DeVito. I do agree with you. A decent start. There's some battling up ahead, though. You can see from DeVito, the man of Harrison and Pouncito, both battling. Contact between the two. Heading into the fast right-hander, which isn't so fast in these conditions. But now, heading down towards the next corner. DeVito down the inside. He goes small look up on the front right. But he is going to get the drive out of the next corner. Have the inside line. And there goes DeVito. Up into P10 he goes. And up into the points for TTRE. Double points for them. Remember, they were the first team to score double points in the season. And the first time, and the one and only team to get double points in the opening race of the season. And now, they're ultimately they're now, once again, hunting down not only a victory, but also double points once again. But TTRE, in the lead of this race, over 1 second now, 1.2 seconds, the gap splitting first and second. CRE have not gotten away with the amazing 1-3 start that they had on the grid, and now it hasn't really worked out for the team of CRE. You know, they started on pole, they started P3, you know, both drivers, and now they're P2 and P5. They're still on for a big 28 points in this race, which is more than TTRE are on for. But it is going to close them up quite a bit to the team of AMS, of course. I think that's a confirmed thing. They're going to close up really, really close to AMS. And exactly what they wanted, possibly even get past ABE while they're at it. But it's still not exactly what they needed here tonight. And you know, they would have wanted that 1-2 and scoring, you know, the maximum 44 points. And at the moment, potentially overtaking ABE during this race. But sadly, that hasn't happened. Not everything is perfect. But now the gap it's now 1.6 seconds. That final sector really hurting Trady. I have to say that final sector and the sort of end of the second sector and the whole of the final sector is really hurting Trady, he's really struggling, although he does seem stronger in the first sector than the Aston Martin. So maybe we're just bouncing back and forth between the two drivers. And so I think we might be seeing a lot more of that as the race goes on here today. Rain is one of the closest on for a chance, same as Axel, who's also trying to eye up a move on the Haas driver. AERO really wanting a big finish. Another 12 points in their campaign would currently jump them ahead. It would ultimately jump them ahead of TIR at the moment, which would be a big point, which would be a good position and a big position to gain over them. Also jumping far ahead of 12 esports as well, really cementing themselves and getting closer to a potential top 5 in the constructors, getting closer to, that 5th place with the new team of course, TE, which was ART. But you can just see the teams going around at a nice pace. Nobody's had a real big incident, but a big mistake from Axel there. Could leave him open to Trappy. Luckily, he gets on the track just fine, just for now. But it is absolutely crazy at the moment. Absolutely crazy. Axel making that mistake has now dropped him just over a second behind Rain. And now he's got AMS Trappy for company. Let's ride on board with the AMS driver. One side of AMS, currently P15. The other side looking at 10 positions ahead of that of P5. He's wanting to get 10 points here tonight and get those double digits for AMS. Continue their title charge. But maybe for the first time this season, I think we are seeing an AMS who are struggling for the first time this season. We saw it in Abu Dhabi. Maybe this was a bit of forthcoming. Maybe we're seeing a bit of a Red Bull type sort of season from them. The first 5 races, dominant from the team. Yes, they still won last race. They won the first 3 of 5 with dominant P1s and P4s, their best finishes. I think they did that 3 times in the first 5 races. They had an incredibly dominant first 5 races. Last race was again dominant, but they struggled. Team, their second driver of East Brand struggled to gain that position, struggled to get the position of, any points at all. He ultimately didn't score any points, and it was the first time in the season that an AMS driver had not only, hadn't scored points, but the last time they had that was from a DNF, not actually finishing the race outside of the points. So it was the first time for them. And this season, it could be the first time that they're having a weak race and they're really struggling to take those points in at the moment, only on their way for 8 points this race, which is their smallest that they would have scored all season. I think their previous smallest was 15 points, by the way. 15 points was the previous smallest amount of points they'd scored. Axel just put in the fastest lap of the race. He's closing up to Rain and Philip. But Rain has also caught up to Philip at the same time. He's trying to get past that McLaren with everything he's got. A dry line is starting to appear, and that McLaren is not liking it because he is really struggling through Sector 1. And it's allowing Rain to keep up with him rather easily at the moment. Estember not really pulling much further ahead of Trady the last time we saw him 3 laps ago. We saw, the gap's about 3/10 bigger than it was about 3 laps ago. So they're not a big difference now between the two. Still, some battling happening further back. Rain has sent it, but he's had to cut the chicane. He sent it in a very odd place that I did not expect him to send a move in any sort of way on Philip. I think he's a bit sick of waiting behind the McLaren now. He wants to make this move. He wants to get a podium for AERO and get another big points finish for them and possibly pull them up into the great position of potentially... he's hoping he wants to pull them up maybe P5 in the constructors, maybe higher. I guess we'll have to see as time goes on. But there is still a lot on the line for everybody at the moment. So don't think the race is over. Estember just put in the fastest lap of the race. He's just gapped. He's already gapped Trady now. 2.6 seconds, finding another 7/10 since the last time we looked at him. Less than a lap ago. So he's finding a lot of time. NTN just made his move up into P12. He goes. But he's got a bit of a way to catch up to Phoenix now. He's got to find another second in his lap time. So the race not going perfectly for him or for anyone at the moment. So definitely some things going on there. So make sure not to miss out on that right now because there's still a lot of racing to come. And, we're seeing 12 NTN push his way up through the grid order and do exactly what's needed. And, this is what we always love to see is racing like this from, from drivers, You can see NTN, he's so much faster than Phoenix, already down to 0.4 of a second. He's going to get Phoenix very soon. And I think possibly by the end of the lap, he'll have Phoenix anyway. And that will be P11 for him, gaining another position. Really pulling himself back up into this race. Looking at positions, the best has been Phoenix and DeVito. Both up 6 places, by the way. They've both gone up 6 places. Nobody stopped. Everybody's on the intermediates. 2 retirements in this race. But yeah, so the two best drivers for gaining positions has been DeVito and NTN. So I have to say this race has been really good. And again, another fastest lap from Estenberg. Not much faster than Trady, but still finding another 0.2 in his lap over Trady. By the way, pull up something. Most wins. As I said before, most wins are held by AMS at the moment. They currently sit with 4 wins in just 6 races. But it doesn't look like they're going to be on for a 5th win here tonight. A 5th win in 7. Doesn't look like they're on for that here tonight because they're currently trailing in 6th and 15th. And in currently 6th place, they're finding themselves near on 9 seconds behind the race leader at the moment. Just to quickly pull up the standings, as you can see, AMS lead on 169 points, which is then followed by ABE with 111, CRE 72, ART 57, which is now, of course, TE, and CTRE on 49 points. That is all of the standings. That's the top 5 in the constructors at the moment. So definitely a lot. Yes, very true, Kaysen. Very true. Estenberg definitely seems to be out for revenge after Abu Dhabi. He's wanting this win now at 3.3 seconds, 3.5, 3.6, 3.7 seconds now off in the lead. He's found himself miles in the lead. We've got this battle over P3 going on from 3rd down to 7th at the moment. Is this very close battle, a 5-car battle at the moment. You can see Rain trying to eye up a move there, which at the moment just isn't working out. We've also got a little bit of a battle further back between Lobos and Harrison, who are fighting over P8. We've got Phoenix. We've got NTN, who's chasing DeVito now. And DeVito, of course, is chasing down Harrison at the same time. We've got a battle over P12 between Phoenix and Pouncito. But those are really our only battles out on track at the moment. But this battle for P3 is heating up. You know, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. 5 drivers. 5 drivers in this battle for the final place on the podium at the moment. You know, we've got this man in the McLaren. He's really wants Philip. You know, he really wants to take home this podium. He needs to get it for his team. Rain also in AERO. He's really needing to get this podium. He wants to get it for AERO tonight. Their start of the season wasn't great, but they're coming back slowly. Axel trying to attack Rain there. Not able to make the move just yet, but Axel wanting to regain some positions and get up back onto the podium where he should be and score big points for CRE here tonight. Trappy as well, wanting to get up a few places, really save AMS and score some points. We can see Neb Restroom, though, going into the pits. The first driver to enter the pits here tonight. He feels like it's time. We're going to have to see which tyres he's going to go to. It's lap 12 out of 35. Intermediates can easily go 25 laps. He's going to another set of intermediates. We know the intermediates can go about 20 laps around this track, but still, going on lap 12, getting on some new intermediates. Now, the gap, by the way, 4.7 seconds is the gap between 1st and 2nd. Nearly 5 seconds now, so the gap is building, but it's 4.2 seconds the car behind. From that now, the 5-car battle for P3 is now down to just a 4-car battle now. See Axel really struggling to keep the car out on track. He's getting attacked by Trappy, by the way. Trappy's getting the exit. He's going to try and make his way by, but he just can't just yet. He's still having to wait behind even longer. Oh! Mistake from Axel. That mistake allows Trappy to go through up into P5. It was a mistake Trappy was waiting for, and Axel has now made another mistake. He made the mistake off for the race start, and he's made another one. Harrison's also made the move on Lobos for P7. As he goes up into P7 for the team of TIR here tonight. Scoring 6 points at the moment on the way for TIR. Not their biggest points haul. Their biggest was back in Imola when they scored 25 points. That's still their biggest points haul of the season. They haven't really gotten back up to that level so far. They're only one of they're one of just the 3 teams to win so far in this season. A car's gone off. That's DeVito who's made a mistake. He looks like he's gone straight. It looks like he went straight off track, and he's now down to P12, allowing Phoenix inside of the top 10, allowing NTN to find himself in P9. But that's disappointment for DeVito, and he's got to work all the way back up again. He's got to find another 3.3 seconds to get back up into the points. And this might be difficult, but he's got to do it again, even just to score 1 point in this race. Making his way round, you can see this race really sliding from DeVito again. This race really taking the best out of drivers, really making sure they have to try and be careful. I think we're seeing a lot less drivers making dangerous moves here tonight compared. Usually, you know, we see quite a few drivers trying to make some dangerous moves, trying to make some dive bombs in wet conditions. But I think because the drivers know what's at stake here, because this is now midway through the season, you know, we've just surpassed. We're kind of this race we're reaching and we're soon on lap 17 and a half going to reach the halfway point, by the way, in this entire season. You know, at the start, big moves were being made. Now drivers are thinking for the championship more than anything. But Axel has already caught back up to Trappy here, and he's already trying to make that move once again. Of course, no DRS in the rain, but he's trying to make that move on the AMS driver for P5. He wants to get back up into that place, but it shows that Axel maybe has some pace behind him over the 2 in front, over the 3 in front, maybe showing that he isn't showing his full pace yet. Neb Restroom just making his way past the driver of AMS Lucas for P13. He's just set the fast lap of the race by another 0.4 of a second, by the way, so he's found a lot more time on the fresh intermediate tyres. You can see through turn 1, he's just finding huge amounts of time over DeVito already. He was P7 previously, so he should be up where Harrison is now. But, you know, of course, AB taking the sort of the risky route. Of course, Yuri out of the race. They've got something to risk, but it's another rough race for AB. You know, last race they did get podium, but they've had a few rough races now. This season, and it's almost like last season. It's almost like the end of last season. You can see DeVito making a mistake that allows Neb Restroom to make his way past into P12. He goes with some ease, and that's 2 positions in 1 single lap, and that has been made very quickly, and that is exactly what he'll be looking for here tonight. One area that I want to look at, and a duo that I want to look at, is these two. The MAR drivers of Junuvain and MAR Jordan. The 2 Williams drivers. Rain has just come into the pits, by the way. He's feeling like it's time for him to come in. These 2 MAR drivers, though, they've interested me this race very much. They've very much been an interesting duo. They've been off for the pace. They're currently 9.2 seconds behind AMS Lucas, 9.1, even 9 seconds, but still. It's been a very rough weekend for MAR. You know, they're trying to get some points. They've scored some big points in Abu Dhabi. Of course, they got P6. They scored big 8 points coming their way in the last race. But here in Hungary, they've very much been driving on their own. They're 2 drivers, not really making any distance on anybody else, not really closing in, very much sitting around the same gap. And just they've been off the pace all weekend. Definitely the slowest out there, I would say, in race pace and in these wet conditions. DeVito, first driver of the night to get a penalty. Gets a 3-second time penalty. So disappointing to see our first penalty of the night. But it's still been 15 laps, to be fair. So, I mean, we're reaching almost a halfway distance. We're midway through this race. And only now drivers are getting penalties. So I have to say, you know, they're definitely taking their races very carefully. Which is nice to see, actually. It's quite nice to see. Looking here, Harrison, by the way, really closing in on these drivers in front. We can see Philip has just made his way into the pits. He feels like it's time to go to a fresh set of inters. I suspect this is potentially how the race is going to end. I suspect it could be a whole race under intermediates, but it's another driver coming into pits. Only the 3rd driver in this race to come into the pits. Where is he going to actually come out? Because he's already down to P8, and he's only just got his tyres on. He's going to fall down to P11. Is he going to come out behind Rain, though? Rain is going to jump DeVito. Is Rain going to come out in front? he is going to come out in front of Philip here, which he already was, but he's going to come out further in front of Philip as well. So the undercut is maybe the way to go because Neb Restroom has already found himself up to P9 and chasing Pouncito. You can already see the next two cars up in front of him, so he's definitely finding time. NTN having the drive and the race of a lifetime at the moment, up to 6th place. He's started last, remember, he started 18th and last, and now he's gained 12 places in this entire race. Really something, you know, that we don't usually see in these races. Neb Restroom, by the way, making the move on Pouncito already. Bit of contact between the two, but ultimately that is now P8 and 4 points on the way for the team of ABE. But still, that undercut working very well, although he might have to stop again in this race, as if those tyres only lasted 12 laps, and these are only going to last 12 laps, they're only going to go to lap 24. Unless he stretches these tyres out, as you can see, many drivers are stretching the tyres out to go to near on 20 laps, unless he's aiming to do that and just go over 20 laps into this race on these tyres. Lobos, by the way, having a bit of a struggle getting into the pit lane and through the pit lane entry, but now he's made his way in, and he's also coming in just like his teammate did. At the same time, AMS Lucas also coming into the pits at the same time. Finally, 2 drivers coming in. We got DeVito, who's also coming in. 3 drivers now. Many drivers now coming into the pits. He's ultimately retiring, our 3rd retiree of tonight. 3rd retiree. By the way, Neb Restroom, already up to the same position he was when he came into the pits. He's already up to P7. And if it currently goes everybody pits, he will find himself, by the way, up to about P2. He's going to find himself P3, sorry. He'll find himself up to P3, possibly P2. So Neb Restroom at the moment, really on his way for a really good finish. Disappointed to see TTRE not able to replicate their double points like they did in the opening race of the first few races. Having to wait even longer now for that. But they're still on their way for a win. That lead with Estenber, 8.3 seconds at the moment. He leads by an absolute mile in this race, lapping about 1.6 seconds slower than he was about 10 laps ago, which was his fastest lap on lap 8. Trady and Trappy and Axel all coming in double pit stop from CIE. Interesting to see, double pit stop. Axel gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. We've seen this mistake a few times. NTN makes his way in. He makes it in fine. Pouncito's coming in. Phoenix is coming in. Many drivers on their way in now. And that's a massive mistake for Axel to make. He's going to still, I think, come out in the same position he was. He's going to come out behind Trappy. Yes, he is. He's behind Trappy, by the way. Behind Philip. Behind quite a few drivers. He's really far behind. He's down in P8 now. NTN still P9, still in the points. Even from, he's gained 9 places as it would stand. With Axel having this massive 10-second time penalty, I know the grid is quite spaced out, but even at that point, he will still be looking at possibly P8 in this race, or possibly lower, if these drivers in front, for like Rain, who's only been on his tyres for a few laps, can't make it work. Because at the moment, he's only been on tyres for 3 laps, which means he's only got to go 20 laps, which is about the same distance as these drivers have gone. Estenber yet to pit. Harrison yet to pit either. But now Estenber makes his way in. I want to see Neb Restroom when he makes his way around. I want to see how far in front he's going to find himself, which means also ABE lead a race for the first time since Kota. I think it's for the first time since Kota, ABE will lead a lap of a race. Phoenix gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Is he going to come out in front? No, he's not. Neb Restroom, that gap is even too big for him. Estenber holds on to, by the way, for the first time in Season 2, the race leader has pitted in the lead and without dropping a single position has stayed in the lead. Estenber has just done, he gained such a gap that he finds himself now massively in front on fresh intermediates. He's still 2.4 seconds in front of Neb Restroom on fresh tyres. TTRE and Estenber are really cooking here tonight. They are really cooking a masterpiece of a race. They led from the race start, they took that lead, they took that strength that they had, and now Neb Restroom is pushing all the way that he can. He's pushing that car to the limit. He wants to gain further out front, already 2.8 seconds in front of Neb. But I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy. He's even been able to jump on an overcut. He's even jumped on an overcut. That's how much of a lead he had. NTN gets a 3-second time penalty in this race, which will see him drop down to P9. He is P8 currently. Not been a good one. Not been a good stop for Lobos. He's had a rather rough stop. Trady just put in the fastest lap of this race. Currently, Axel is set to go down to P10 at the moment. So Axel not on his way for a good race here tonight. Not on a good way at all. Why did the game pause? Axel now setting the fastest lap of the race. Still, he's not helping his case. He's not going much faster than anyone else. Jordan has made his way in now to the pits. Still sitting far off of anyone else. Let's see. What is MAR thinking of? Are they thinking of just finish with a rough finish here tonight? Or are they going to continue their race? Or are they going to end it early? That's the big question. Are they going to end their race early and just concede this race tonight? Maybe, maybe not. I hope they don't, because, you know, it's still a race. They still got time. Still, Estember now leads by near on, or 5 seconds. We were talking about this earlier this season being almost impossible. And I actually said in round, I think it was round 3. I can't remember when I said it actually exactly, but I think it was round 3. And I said, only a wet race, and that was when we went to Imola. And I think I said, only a wet race will separate this grid as much as they are, you know, as much as they were separated at the time. Estember putting in a new fastest lap, finding a lot more time. But yeah, I think, you know, I still stand by it. I think I was still right about it, that, you know, the most we'll see the grid spaced out is when it goes to wet conditions. And it's proving it here tonight that, you know, under wet conditions, the drivers, you know, are a lot more spaced out compared to usual. There's still battles for positions. But also, by the way, tonight, no safety car so far, which is surprising to see. Especially with how our last tier 2, two tier 2 races have gone and Fours races have gone. Fours have currently, I think, 100% rate of safety cars, same as I think tier 2. I think tier 2 also has 100%. By the way, tier 2 also has the same rate as well of 100%, but tier 1, incredibly clean this race. I don't think I've actually seen any bad racing from anybody, which is, I have to say, very welcomed. I think, you know, the grid, of course, is much more spaced out, but it's much more difficult to race in the rain. But I have to say, very clean racing from everybody. No big incidents. So quite nice to see that. Bit of a quiet night, but always nice to see when the drivers are driving well. Estember starting off lap 22, setting another fastest lap, another 10th and a half faster than faster than his previous lap. Trady also made the move on Neb Restroom for P2. Again, Trady now finding himself 8 seconds off of the race leader already. 8 seconds behind, which is just shocking, which is a huge amount. Rain is also catching up. He's wanting a podium. He jumped Philip as well, remember, with the undercut. He jumped Philip. Trappy still P6. Axel finds himself far off with that 10-second time penalty, which will send him, by the way, now outside of the top 10. Will send him actually P11, by the way. So yeah, sadly for him, he's going to be finding himself outside of the points. Quiet night for AMS Lucas, very much on his own. He's found in this race with the MAR drivers far behind, near on 20 seconds behind, and him finding himself almost 4 seconds behind P12. He is catching Phoenix slowly, but it seems to be bouncing up and down. Timon saying need a safety car now. Many would agree safety car might mix things up towards the end of the race, but I have to say, I think we can all agree to this here tonight. This has been a flawless race from our drivers. It really has been a flawless race from all of the drivers. No crashes, no contact when, you know, no crashes when racing, no crashes altogether. Estember, Jesus Christ, 24.640. The rain is reducing. Lucas gets a 3-second time penalty. Neb Restroom making his way into the pits now. come in again. Luckily not getting a penalty, but the rain is disappearing. Slowly but surely, there's bits of less and less rain. Down for the pit straight, there's less rain, and less rain is happening, and the track does seem to be drying. Ever so slowly, the track is drying. What is Neb going on to? Neb is going on to another set of intermediates. Timon would like a crash, to be fair. Wow. Okay, wow. Well, you tell your driver to crash. No, I'm kidding. Here tonight, as Trappy going side by side with Philip. Off the track he went. Now into the next corner. Contact between the two. Trappy almost sent spinning on the right-hander. On the uphill right-hander. Still having to hold on to P5 for the moment. But that is some of the racing that does get close in wet conditions. And some of the racing that you do need. Generally, some crazy racing going on. Trady, by the way. Now, Trady, very lonely race. For both our race leader and for Trady, you know, quite a lonely race for both of these guys because 9 seconds splitting the two of them and 5.5 seconds back to Rain at the moment. Finds himself very much on his own, pushing as hard as he can, but very much finding himself on his own. Neb Restroom's strategy, going to another set of fresh tyres, means he can go to the end of the race on these intermediates, and also means he's going to be able to gain a lot of positions and gain some more time over other drivers. He's already got more pace than drivers like Pouncito, Lobos, and Harrison. I think we've already proven that this race. But he's hoping maybe for some positions to be gained, maybe to find himself up into possibly a P6 position, scoring 8 points for ABE, maybe moving them from their 111 points at the moment, maybe closing them up to AMS, or maybe not at the moment. They won't close up unless Trappy gets a penalty or something goes wrong for him, because at the moment, that he's going to be scoring 10, and ABE currently on for 0 points. He did cut the corner quite heavily there, but still, I mean, ABE only on for 8 points, AMS still on for 10 points in this race, which is still a strong finish, which is still a decent finish their weekend out of all the points they could have scored. I mean, CRE looking like they're not even going to score points in this race, by the way. Well, they're going to score just 18 points in this race, which will catch up, where they will catch up to AMS by a further 8 points, and I'll catch up to ABE by, at the moment, they'll catch up to ABE by another 18 points. Not sure what happened to ABE. ABE was a clear second fastest team at the start of the season. You know, they clearly showed that to, of course, be second in the standings. But, you know, they haven't had a lot of luck on their side. For the last 3 races, they've really struggled. Excluding Kota, sorry, the last 2 races, you know, the last few races, they've struggled to be on the pace of race winners. Here comes Philip, attacking Rain now. Into turn 1 they go, sliding from Rain. Rain almost spins it. Contact then with Trappy as he tries to get away and get going again. Trappy hitting into the side of the McLaren. Now heading down into turn 3 they go, side by side, still going at it, sliding round off the exit. Trappy still sliding around as he goes onto the curb. But now he finds himself P5 and still having to hold on to position. Still unable to get past the McLaren, nor can he get past the Haas either. So this struggle for Trappy is continuing here tonight with just 10 laps to go in this race. This race is going by very quickly, especially with how the rain is slowly reducing in this race. Yeah, talking about AMS dominance and ABE dominance this season. We say about how ABE is second in the constructors. They have the same amount of pole positions as ABE. Most poles split between their AMS and ABE, both with 3 pole positions. You know, they've taken every pole position this season. The top two teams this season. Yet, even though they've taken the top 2 places this season, you know, they have both been the only 2 teams on pole position all season long. Their ABE are still yet to win a race. Currently, you know, they sit with no wins, by the way. AMS with the most. They have 4 wins and 3 pole positions. ABE have 3 pole positions, yet no wins. CRE have 1 victory. TIR also have 1 victory. You see Trappy getting a little bit too happy with steering. Axel starting to catch up, by the way, to these guys. As you can see, AMS have the most wins this season so far. between everybody. But you can see Trappy really close to the McLaren now. He really wants to make the move on Philip, but he's just stuck behind for now. Barbance will be back next week. That's going to be nice to see. AB's main man this season, Barbance, needs to make his way back up the championship because at the moment, CRE are really gaining on you and AMS are still pulling away, surely but slowly. Team standings, as you can see, just to remind you guys, AMS lead the constructors on 169 points, with ABE in second with 111, which should change up by just 2 points, by the way. They're just, as it stands, they'll only go up 2 points to 113. Yet AMS will go to 179. CRE set to score some big points here tonight. They're set to score at least some decent points. We're going to have some racing as we head down the pit straight now. Here comes Philip on the Haas. Into turn one they go. Is there going to be a change for position? No, there won't be. And there won't be a change for position from any of these four drivers. Once again, a four-way battle returning to the podium spots. Even though Axel and NTN, who is slowly catching, will be slowly guessing will slowly join in on this battle. Even though both of them have penalties, they can always stir things up in the grid. You can see he is closing and closing. Harrison sitting about the same. Pouncito going around the outside of Lobos. He's trying to make that move work. Ferrari versus Haas. Both Ferrari powered. Off the track goes Lobos. And now Pouncito finds himself back up into the top 10. Goes the Ferrari driver and the SCT driver here today. But looking back at Neb Restroom, he's very much closing in on Harrison. He's closing in on Harrison at a very alarming rate for the TIR driver. A little bit too alarming just to go will be okay, because he's finding, as you've just seen, he's found half a second in just a few corners on, of course, those much fresher tyres. You can see as he makes his way around, slipping and sliding everywhere now, as now they make their way round the next few corners. You can see now NTN, by the way, has also joined this battle. Now it's once again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-way battle for the podium. By the way, yes, a 5-way battle. NTN will pass Axel in the end when it comes down to penalties wise. And here comes NTN anyway. Down the inside he goes of CRE Axel as he makes the move. And that's a successful move from the Sauber driver, as now he makes his way up to P6 and on for 8 points here tonight. And some big points that 12 Esports have been looking for and waiting for a while. Lucas gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Lucas now retires from this race, our 4th retirement of the night. AMS having to walk away with another driver not scoring points. Another driver, back-to-back races. For the first time this season, AMS's second driver, or at least one of their drivers, hasn't scored a point in a race so far. But these gaps out in front are just crazy. Estember leads by 9.5 seconds. Trady ahead of Rain by 12.2 seconds. But there's a 4-way battle going on. And here comes Trappy. He's going for it on the man of Philip. Down the inside. He's been waiting and waiting. Contact between the two. Philip still trying to fight this as they head towards the next corner. Trappy has to let him by. Bit of nudging. Bit of pushing themselves through the corners. And now Trappy still yet to make a position up. And still he is in P5 in this race. And yet to make his way up onto the podium. He's been struggling for so long. Even Harrison starting to catch. Neb Restroom is also making his way up because he's right on the back of Harrison at the moment, who's just 1.2 seconds behind. NTN, by the way, just made his way past the man of AMS Trappy and into P5 goes 12 NTN. Even with his penalty, he still wants to gain positions. He still wants to get racy in tonight's race, and he is doing that slowly but surely he is doing that here tonight. Now making his way round. As you see, going up the hill once again here on lap 29 out of 35. We're getting closer and closer to tonight's finish. And now making their way around. Very slowly, but surely. They're still able to do it in wet conditions. They're doing everything that they need to do at the moment. And they don't need to be doing one thing more than they are. Philip gets a 3-second time penalty, which is going to rule him out of a podium chance, which means Trappy could find himself up into P4. This could be a big chance for him here tonight. So we'll have to see what happens now. A lot is on the line. A lot could be going on. We're going to have to see in the next few moments. Anything could happen. Holy, anything could happen here tonight. Let's see what's going to happen. Now, everything is going on. You can see Rain comes into the pits. He's done with these tires. He wants to go till the end on a new set of intermediates. He feels like those are going to be enough. He's going to be dropped down to P10. NTN, by the way, making the move into P3 at the moment. Now, Trappy is on his way for P3 in this race now. But this does leave NTN with a chance of finishing P4 and getting big 12 points for him. So we'll have to see. But because Neb, Restroom got past Harrison and now he's making his way closer. He is getting closer and closer and closer here tonight. It's all up to the ABE man to make a few moves. He knows he's getting past Axel. He's got to close up a bit more to Philip and NTN to get up those 3 positions to P4. Hopefully, he's hoping he could get past Trappy very soon and make his way up into P3 and onto the podium for ABE here tonight. And the comeback will be truly completed. We're on lap 30 out of 35. As Estenberg just crosses the line to start off the final 5 laps of this race. The final 5-lap charge of this race is now underway. It's been a lonely race for the front 2, but it's been an exciting race now for P3. NTN in P3 is trying to pull away. He's already pulled 1.1 seconds, by the way. He's trying to pull that 3-second gap. And at the moment, even though he isn't exactly pulling it, he's pulling something away, and he is getting further in front, which is going to help his case later on in the day. Harrison has also caught up to the back of this lot. MS Lucas now leaves the session, make their way around. Everything is still on the go. And now, as they make their way round, it is still going down the hill. Neb Westroom making a move. He's making the move down the inside. He's made it work on Axel. And that is now P6 in this race. The battle was never really with Axel, but it was for P6. And that's now 8 points on his way. He's going to be hoping to track down the man of Philip and Trappy and get onto that podium in this race. He needs to get past Trappy to get onto the podium. But you can see NTN now 2 seconds ahead. NTN finding a lot of time in this middle sector. But Neb Restroom has to use all of his tires to make his way round, by the way. He needs to use everything he's got in these last few moments of the race. He's right behind the man of Trappy. He's pushing Trappy. He is even pushing Trappy through the final few corners. Now heading down towards the next corner. He's going to let Trappy... He's let Trappy go deep, by the way. Is he going to try and make a move work here? Yes, he is. No, he isn't. He's going to hold back. He wants Trappy to make a mistake to allow him to get back past and make his way up into P5 and onto the podium at the moment. Although he is just outside of it, but he might be able to close down NTN just in time. As Philip does close down NTN anyway. He's still on for P4 at least. Here comes Neb Restroom. He's using his overtake, heading towards turn 1. Here comes Neb Restroom. Down the inside, the AB driver goes. He makes it work. Fresher, better tyres. He gets away well. A little bit of sliding on the rear, but that's now P5 and at least P4 at the moment. But he needs to close in now on Philip and make the move soon on the McLaren driver to then close up to NTN and take a podium here tonight. He really wants this podium. He has fought so hard. He's taken a huge 2-stop race in tonight's race. He's taken 2 stops. He's made it work. He's risking it all. Here are the stops. 2 stops. He's one of 3 drivers to it. Rain and Lobos being the only other 2 drivers to try this strategy. But for Neb Restroom, he's used his pace, he's used his ability to overtake, and now he's using his ability even further on these intermediate tyres. His wet weather condition skills of mastery are showing through. Neb Restroom down the inside, the late braking move. Is he going to make it work? Still the McLaren fighting with him. Philip still trying to make it work. Ultimately, the McLaren cannot fight that speed. And now, Neb Restroom is chasing after NTN for P3 and a podium in this race, and ABE gaining on AMS for the first time in a long time this season. Now, ABE gained points last race on AMS, although it was a small amount. They want to gain points once again this race on AMS. At the moment, he'll be gaining just 4 points on AMS. Although 4 points seems small, if he can get another position it could be 5 points. So at least he could walk away with some more points at the end of the day. He is closing in more and more. The final 3 laps of the race have come round, by the way. Nobody's been lapped, but it is the final 3 laps. Trappy has now made his way past Philip for the position of P5. So at least these two are now chasing their podium chances. I think Trappy knows he's not going to be catching Ned Westrum anytime soon. 3.2 seconds now. He needs to be within 3 seconds to make this work. He is pushing all the way he can. We haven't had one single safety car this race. Axel gets a 3-second time penalty again, which is going to confirm him dropping outside of the top 10 here tonight, which is disappointment for Axel. It will confirm he will drop outside of the top 10, or at least get P10 at worst. Harrison now making his move on Philip for P6, and that's a big 8 points coming towards TIR at the end of the day. Now, as they make their way round, still with time to go, 2 laps remaining. Estember leads by almost 13 seconds in this race ahead of Trady. But Ned Westrum is within 1.5 seconds now. He is closing in on this gap. There is all the way to go. There is so much to go now. There's still so many laps. It will feel like so many laps. Harrison's just made the move on Trappy for the position of P5. He had to make it now, and he did, and it's worked, and that is now the position of P5 for Harrison ahead of Trappy, and this is not only going to help TIR in their battle. Ned Westrum, he's done it! He's done it! P3, he's made it work from nothing to something. He has made this position work, and this last minute charge from Neb has made this work in this race, and onto the podium he goes. He might be almost 30 seconds behind the race leader, but he does not care because he is in P3 and on the podium here tonight. We can still see Harrison still fighting in there. He is still fighting for that position. He still wants to gain on NTN on this final lap. He needs to find half a second to get that position. NTN struggling on his inters a little bit. Maybe NTN will finish P4. Maybe he'll finish P5 in this race. Who knows? But at the moment, I think Trappy's outside of the chance of getting a P5 finish at the moment. But still, big points could be coming 12 Esports way. They could be finding themselves pushing their way past AERO at the moment, as they will. But we've got to look round to Rain, actually, who's just made the move on Axel for P8, as Axel's made his way down to P9. He's now going to find, he will find himself P11, by the way, in this race. He will now be P11 outside of the points. I think he's given up all hope, and CIE once again losing a driver to points as Rain now makes his way up to P7 in this race, and up into 6 points goes the AERO driver. So AERO still coming back with a nice 6 points in this race, and now chasing Trappy he is, and he wants to get him on the final lap of this race. He wants to make this move work. He needs to make this move work. But we have to move our eyes to the front of the grid, to the man who leads this race. He's led all 35 of 35 laps from start to finish. Estember's been perfect. Perfect strategy, perfect driving, perfect overtaking, and perfect everything. Estember wins in Hungary after heartbreak in Abu Dhabi. It is the win for TTRE that they've been waiting for so utterly long this season. But in round 7, after the break, they return and win and conquer in Hungary. With Trady finishing second, Rain has just made the move on Trappy in the last moments of the race. In the last 3 corners, Rain makes the move on Trappy for P7. There he goes, up into P6. Ned Westrum finishes third. NTN will finish 5th in this race. Harrison will finish 4th. We're going to see Rain come up to the line. He's going to complete that P6. Trappy ultimately finishes P7 in the end. Not the best of days for him. Axel gets another 10-second time penalty for unserved penalty. In the end, Axel drops to P12, to P11 outside of the points. Lobos comes across the line next. He'll pick up that P11 now ahead. Only 2 drivers to cross the line left, and that's Jordan and Jono Vane. Ultimately, the win though. The win, the drive, the domination of Aston Martin and TTRE in that Aston Martin car. Estember, what a day from that man. He has been on top of the world. For the first time this season, a driver has led every single lap of a race, by the way. For the first time in this season. It is complete domination. He might have not gotten pole. He might have not gotten the position of pole or fastest lap, but he did get enough for the victory. And that is that. I just saw Trappy retired, which means he has dropped down, but he is P7, by the way. He is P7. That is confirmed. But that is the victory for this man. What a victory it has come down to. Absolutely crazy racing, crazy performances, absolute mental stuff going on here tonight. It's TTRE on top. They've had a bit of a struggle as of late, but it is the victory they've been waiting for, the podium they've been waiting for, and the massive points they've been waiting for. They had to wait till after the break, but that hope never left them, and Estember gets revenge for Abu Dhabi, and he finishes with the win in fastest lap and leading every lap. Sadly, it cannot be a Grand Slam as he didn't get pole, but it is surely one of the best drives I think I've ever seen in FRLT, possibly even the best. Trady, even though he got pole, it is only P2 for him. Neb, Restroom, what a day with AB he has had on the podium once again. AB doing what they needed to do. Harrison finishes 4th with NTN from 18th to 5th. And to be honest, let me be honest, drive of the day. Very simple. Rain finishes 6th. Philip in, ultimately it was Trappy who finished 7th with Philip in 8th. Pouncito in 9th. Phoenix 10th. Lobos finishes 11th with Axel in 12th. Jordan in 13th. Junivane in 14th, with our retirements being Lucas, DeVito, Yuri, and Hamza being all of our retirements here tonight. What a race that was. What a race. No words for the race that we have just seen in Hungary. Domination really did come from the team. Domination. I have no words for it. Just domination from the team of TTRE and Estember. What a drive they had here tonight. No words at all. Top class of a drive. I don't think anybody can disagree with that. Just top level of driving we've seen here tonight. Absolutely amazing stuff. Ultimately, that is the end of the stream here tonight. That is the end of the stream, which is disappointing to say the least. You know, I don't like leaving, but you guys will see us once again tomorrow for Tier 2, and that will be something very interesting and very good to see. So come and join us at 8 PM tomorrow for Tier 2. Also, don't forget, our Force Championship is on the days of Sundays at 7 PM and 8 PM for Lobby 1 and Lobby 2 in that order. Next race, sadly, I didn't have the correct calendar up, but next race, we've completed Belgium, Mexico, Imola, Kota, Austria, Abu Dhabi, and Hungary. Next race, we are going to the great place of Silverstone, Great Britain, our home Grand Prix for many of the drivers next week. And that is going to be incredibly exciting. Ultimately, it is time to say goodbye to you all. I hope you all have a great week. Thank you to our sponsor of Rogue Energy. Also, thank you to everybody who watches us, who's been watching us all day today and all the time. Thank you so much for all of that. Thank you for all the support we've had here on the channel. And I mean, a massive thing to walk away with today is to say that we've surpassed 100 subscribers here tonight. Absolutely crazy. Thank you so much for the support on this channel. I never thought we'd get there this quickly in Season 2. But thank you so much for the amazing season we've had and all of the support you guys give, because it is so much. Also, thank you to everybody who helps me in FRLT, from, as you can see, my co-com who would usually be here, Cots, to just everybody, moderators, everyone. And also thank you to the drivers and teams, because without them, we wouldn't have any racing going on. But that is ultimately me. I will see you, I should see you tomorrow at 8 PM for Tier 2. Have a great week. Have a great day. And I will see you very soon. Goodbye. Sundays, but here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights.
heavens, what have you learned?